Support for this show comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, the mortgage company that decided to ask why. Why can't the mortgage experience be better for everyone? And why can't technology help all of us move into the home of our dreams faster and easier? Why do mortgages require paperwork? Quicken Loans answered all these questions and more with Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage gives you the confidence you need when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Whether you're looking to buy your first home or your 10th or refinance your existing mortgage, with Rocket Mortgage you get a transparent online process that gives you the confidence to make an informed decision. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply. Understand fully. Mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/WFAN. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
And let's welcome aboard their manager, Joe Girardi. And the Joe Girardi Report is brought to you by your participating Tri-State Buick GMC dealership, by Jersey Mike's, the official sub-sandwich shop of the New York Yankees, by New York Community Bank and the NYCB family of banks. Visit them online at mynycb.com, and by Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza, the preferred pizza of New York baseball. Good afternoon, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, Marc and Ed. How are you?
Doing great, Joe. Doing great. I just wondered whether you can, after a one-game playoff, whether you can exhale a little bit as you enter what seems like an eternity, a five-game playoff.
Yeah, we were able to. The interesting thing was, you win that game, and then you got to go to work on your next roster and try to line up what your rotation is and make some tough decisions. But you're able to exhale a little bit. It was nice to get here in Cleveland and have a workout and just kind of get on the field and run around a little bit.
Joe, with that being said, let's talk about how you set up your starting rotation. Take us between the little bit behind the thought process of setting it up the way that you did with Gray tonight, Sabathia Game 2, Tanaka Game 3, and with Severino Game 4.
Yeah, well, we looked at a lot of pure numbers that you look at as a group, and Sonny probably has the best matchups against this club. He's pitched pretty well 2 out of the 3 starts that he has been here in Cleveland. He had a rough one early on, but he struggled early on in the season. And then we decided CC Game 2, and then you have them both available for Game 5. Tanaka's pitched really well at home. We'll have him for Game 3, and then Sevy after that.
Joe, I was wondering the other night when you playing the Twins and you fell behind early there, I'm sure you had plans for, 2 times through the lineup with Sevy and 3 times, et cetera. And you probably, I was wondering how many plans you had to throw away, 6 batters into the game and go to your bullpen as you did at the right time, obviously.
We talked about a bunch of different scenarios about who we would bring in if runners were on. We talked about if Sevy took a line drive off the leg in the first inning, what do you do? And we had decided that if that was the case, I didn't expect him only to get 1 out. I thought he'd leave because of an injury or something.
Right.
That we would go to the bullpen right away, and we would ride him as long as we could and then go from there. And if we had to use one of the starters that we had, we would use them. But we felt that we could probably get 9 innings out of our bullpen. Everyone had Sunday and Monday off, and if they threw the way they were capable of, we could get 9 innings out of our bullpen, and that's what we did.
Joe, and you're great at noticing when a pitcher has it and when a pitcher doesn't. You've had a couple days to digest what we saw from Severino on Tuesday night. Why do you think we saw the performance we did?
Emotions. I think that he was overthrowing and wasn't hitting his spots and was trying to power his way through it in a sense, and hopefully he learned a lot from Game 1, in that one-game playoff, and I don't think that's odd. I think you see veteran pitchers do that, and he just didn't get away with anything, and he got behind in counts and put himself in bad situations.
Joe, is he a guy that you believe can turn the page and handle things in Game 4 where you have him slated?
Oh, I do, because I think he had to do it a couple times during the course of the year. His best performance was in the second half, and his best month was in the month of September. So I do believe he can turn the page, and I'm sure he learned a lot from that. And you would expect him to do. And I think he's been just kind of taking everything in this year, applying it to his game, and I think he'll do that his next game.
Joe, I do love Sabathia Game 2 because of he's been there, done that. He's seen it all, right? He reinvented himself as a starter. and being opposed by Kluber in that start, he's just going to go about doing his business. I like the fact that Sabathia gets the start opposed to Corey Kluber in Game 2.
Yeah, I mean, we felt that, and just when you look at Tanaka's splits, he's been much better at home. And CC is our most tested pitcher, and you get in a situation, a tough game on Friday. We've looked at CC when we've needed a win. CC has been there for us. He did it a number of times against Boston, and the way he's competed. I love the way he's thrown the ball this year. I mean, you could argue that he was our second best pitcher of the whole season, and that's why he's going Game 2.
Joe, it's interesting what you said before about your bullpen. You could have gone 9 if you needed 9, and that's pretty much what happened, obviously, against Minnesota. I guess maybe Tito is thinking the same thing. I know Kluber wanted the extra day, and he wants to be on a 5th day if there is a Game 5, but he has Bauer and I guess a fully rested bullpen that he can go to early and maybe often tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this. A lot of times you'll say on teams, used to say all the time, let's get their starter out and get to their bullpen. Well, that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
That's the way bullpens are loaded. So obviously, you got to score runs against this team when you get the opportunity. And the success we've had off of Bauer is we've been patient on him. That's when we've had success. And you get a couple walks and a hit, and you have to have a big hit. But yeah, I mean, he has a fully rested bullpen. They haven't played for 4 days, and his bullpen could give him a lot.
Joe, what about Betances? When he's good, he's fantastic. When he's on, he's one of the best relievers in the entire sport. When he's off and having issues with the location, we've seen him struggle a little bit. He didn't pitch on Tuesday night. That's been a point of contention to some. What about what do you expect from Betances moving forward here? Because you're going to need him to win.
Yeah, well, that's the bottom line. We're going to need him to win. And, I didn't pitch him on Tuesday because Canley was rolling along, and I liked what he was doing. And I felt like if they did come back, I had Dellin coming out of the bullpen for extra innings if I needed that. So it was kind of what I chose to do. And I knew I could get, 2 innings out of Chap. If Canley got in trouble, I was going right to Chappie. So I was saving Dellin for the extra innings to start the extra innings. So, but we're going to need him. That's the bottom line. He could play a huge role tonight, and I know that I can use him for more than an inning if I need him. And, you look at it and he's probably our 8th inning guy, maybe our 7th and 8th inning guy tonight.
Speaking with Joe Girardi, Yankees manager, Ed Coleman, Marc Malusis in for Mike, who's a little bit under the weather today. Bottom of your lineup tonight, Joe, you've got Headley and Hicks down there. Headley sat Game 1. He's in their DH today. Hicks has been prominent for you. He's played center field in both games, the wild card game, and he's back in there tonight.
When you have really, in a sense, 3 guys that can play 2 spots, someone's going to sit, and you analyze the at-bats that they've had. And I don't just say, are they 0 for 6? If you're 0 for 6 and you've lined out 4 times, those are good at-bats. If you've had your share of walks, those are good at-bats. If they're long at-bats and you hit the ball hard, those are good at-bats. And that's why we went the way we did today with Headley and Hicks. They seem to they've had their share of walks off of Bauer, and we've looked at that. And Headley's had some success hitting the ball off of Bauer. We looked at that, and that's why we chose to go this way.
And you've got options now coming off the bench late in games if you need it, Joe.
Well, I have speed off the bench, and I also have power in a sense. I have it with Holiday. So yes, we do have options coming off the bench.
Yeah. Do you like that with Holiday? He's been on the bench, but that's a big bat that you can use late. Do you like that fact, Joe?
I do, and I also like the experience that he has because a lot of the young kids rely on him and talk to him a lot. So I like him in there, his presence, and I have that big bat.
Gotcha. Marc Malusis, Ed Coleman. We're being joined by Yankees manager Joe Girardi. Joe, what do you see from Bird right now? High expectations, injury-ravaged year, comes back off the surgery. Has had some good moments. Has looked a lot better at the plate. What do you see from Bird at the plate right now?
I think he's playing at a high level. I think he's swinging the bat well. He's a guy that had an RBI in that game the other day. His at-bats were good. His at-bats off of Bauer, I think it's going to tell you he's 1 for 8, but he's hit the ball hard off of Bauer. So I like his at-bats. I like the defense that he's playing, and he seems like, he's back to where he was, and he's playing at a high level.
It's always nice to have energy on your club. Gardner brings you that all the time. He brings it every game, Joe. But obviously, coming off a very good game against Minnesota, and he's played very well lately, too.
Yeah, he was the catalyst in that game. He got us going right away, and then you get the big 3-run homer by Didi. But just his at-bat to walk, his home run after he got knocked down, fired him up a little bit. But that's who he is. He's scrappy. He's going to fight you. He's had to earn everything he's ever gotten in his life. I mean, he was a walk-on at his college baseball team, and you see that fight every time he goes out there, and our guys love it.
Joe, it's interesting. That stadium was rocking on Tuesday night. It was shaking for those that were in attendance. It's a fun group. There's the veteran players, but it's a young core group of players. It's always fun when you win, but I know it's different when you're the managing the team and the pressure that comes along with it. But have you enjoyed the run and you have enjoyed the ride this year?
I really tried to soak in Tuesday because obviously being a manager, you have decisions that you have to make. But from an atmosphere, that's as good as I remember. That was a special atmosphere Tuesday night. Just the fight in the game on both sides, I thought was special. I thought it had a ton of energy, and it was just a really good ball game. And you got to see guys really rise up and do more than they've usually had to do. And I really tried to enjoy it as much as I could. I got to tell you, after the game, I was fairly spent.
Got that, yeah.
After the game, we celebrated for about 15 minutes, and then we met in the group as a group to start thinking about the roster. So I really didn't get to enjoy it that much, but it was great. It was great to be the manager, but it was also great to be a fan. And I was able to appreciate it both ways.
I thought about you when the 3-run homer hit the seats and Gregorius had tied up the game. The building was actually shaking at the time. But, thinking back to the Keuchel game and when you couldn't get anything done offensively, all of a sudden you're down 3-0. Were you ever going to score here? And bingo, you did, and it kind of took off from there.
Yeah, it really did. And, Keuchel was the Cy Young Award winner that year, and we didn't do much against him. And we were really... we were behind. We didn't lose by that much, but we couldn't do anything against Keuchel.
Right.
But it was great to see our guys respond. And, Didi, we put him in the 4 slot to break up lefties during the course of the season so we could go 1, 4, and 7. So it made it harder on the manager. And he's just thrived there. And we've left him there because he's been so good there. And he's another guy that brings energy every day, comes to play every day, has a smile on his face every day, and he's a special kid.
Yeah, he is, and he replaced a special player, as you know, Joe, better than anybody else, in Jeter. What about what Didi has developed into here in a Yankee uniform? It really is remarkable for the expectations coming in, and that's a difficult job to replace a legend, but to not only have the struggles early, learn from it, but thrive and become really one of the great shortstops in the entire game.
I was telling someone earlier, that's one of the greatest parts of my job, watching kids grow up in front of your eyes and seeing them have success in a business where there's so much failure. And he tried so hard that first month to be more than he was and was struggling mightily. And I told him, I said, look, Didi, you're our shortstop. There is nobody else. So stop looking over your shoulder, relax and go play. And he's gotten better every year. And now we have a shortstop hitting 4th and thriving and playing great defense. He missed a month of the season. Ended up with 87 homers and 87 RBIs and 25 homers. Just a remarkable year.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch, no question. Joe Girardi, Yankee manager, joining us here on The Fan. Moose and I were talking about this before, Joe, that matchups are great. You got tonight, but then, game 2, Sabathia, the veteran guy, pitches better on the road. He's going up against, obviously, the ace and maybe the best pitcher in the American League down the stretch. And then you got, Tanaka going against Carrasco. Tanaka's a great home pitcher. Carrasco's a great away pitcher. And you got those guys matched up in game 3. So you got some interesting matchups, to say the least.
Yeah, I think these are really good matchups. And I'm looking forward to watching our guys compete because that's the best part of the game. And the best part of my job is watching them compete at such a high level. And I'm looking forward to it.
Joe, final one from me, and that is 2-3 in your lineup. Judge and Sanchez just so important to you offensively, day in and day out. When they're in there, Aaron certainly finished off the season strong. We talked to Cashman about it last hour as well. What about what these two provide to you, and certainly putting the fear in the heart of the opponent?
I mean, it really is amazing what they have done during the course of this season. And you think about, our ace was really a rookie. Our 2 most productive hitters are basically rookies. And your 4th or 5th starter was a rookie. And what these kids have done, one of your best bullpen pieces has been a rookie in Green. And these guys are so important to our lineup. I mean, big at bats. They've driven in over 200 runs. They've scored 200 runs. They have 85 or something home runs between. I mean, just I mean, this is a tandem that's going to be dangerous for a long time, and people in New York should be really, really excited.
Hopefully they start being dangerous tonight, too, as a matter of fact. Joe, listen, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Good luck tonight, Joe.
And good luck, all right?
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great night.
You got it. Joe Girardi, Yankee manager, as always on The Fan every week. Coming up to 5:20 on The Fan. Mink will be here in just a second. Joe sounds like he's ready.
Honestly, he sounded into it. Sounded relaxed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sometimes he doesn't come across that way in these post-game press conferences.
You know,
he's enjoying it.
I think just the fact, and listen, the one game thing, it's got to be nerve-wracking, tremendously nerve-wracking for a manager, especially a team when you're at home and you're supposed to win the game.
Well, and you own Minnesota.
And you own Minnesota, yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden you're down 3-0 and you've got to turn that game around. They did, but, it's got to be like you said, they celebrated and then he realized he was spent. And I'm sure he is, but it's going to be nerve-wracking tonight, but you're in a 5-game series. It's not, one game is not going to kill you here tonight.
Right, so. It's not. It's not. Now you got a series to play with, and you're not the favorite going into the series. Mm-hmm. And I do think he enjoys watching young guys develop.
Yeah.
I think he enjoys watching what Gregorius has turned into, Sanchez holding him accountable for his defense, him responding to that, what Aaron Judge has been able to do, the fact that Greg Bird is finally healthy again. I think Girardi likes working with young players.
I do too. I think he especially likes working with these young players.
Agreed.
The guys you mentioned. I'd like to too, as a matter of fact. 5:20 on The Fan. Mink is here. He's got the